Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine.
Okay, so this blessing, this is part of the conditions of Israel. If they obey the Lord's voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. So if the Lord is blessing Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and now the lost tribes of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, why wouldn't that same covenant be good for the rest of us? If the Lord gave all these blessings out for this same covenant, why would something be wrong with the circumcision? Well, let's keep reading, verse 6.
And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
Okay, so if as long as Israel obeyed the voice of the Lord, they were to become a kingdom of priests to the Lord. That's a big step to be a kingdom of priests to the Lord. And we got lessons that show the reason why Israel is in captivity down to this day, because they failed to do this job. That's why they're in captivity. But we got another lesson for that. Go ahead.
And Moses came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him.
Okay, so Moses was dictating all the Lord's words, all to the children of Israel. Go ahead, verse 8.
And all the people answered together and said, all that the Lord hath spoken we will do. And Moses returned the word of the people unto the Lord.
Okay, so Moses told Israel all the commandments and the laws that the Lord told him. He gave them to Israel, and they all agreed that this is what we're going to do. And Moses went back and he returned and told the Lord what the people said. We're going to do. All the Lord spoken, we're going to do. Verse 9.
And the Lord said unto Moses, Lo, I come unto thee in the thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people unto the Lord.
Okay, so the Lord wanted to make sure that the people understood the terms of this covenant that Moses was telling them about. Let's go right over to Exodus, the 24th chapter. Right over to Exodus 24, and we're going to pick it up in verse 8. Exodus 24 and verse 7. 24 and 7. Go ahead.
And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people. And they said, all that the Lord hath said will we do, and be obedient.
Okay, so Moses wrote this covenant up in a book, and he took the book of the covenant and he read in the audience of the people, and they said, again, all that the Lord hath said we will do, and be obedient. So they understood the terms of the Lord covenant, the same covenant that was made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But go ahead, verse 8.
And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words.
Okay, so to seal this covenant and make sure that it was pure, that it was non-void, it had to be some bloodshed. So he had to seal this covenant with blood. That's why he kept going over with the people to make sure that they understood what the Lord was expecting of them with this covenant. Mm-hmm. And they kept saying that all the Lord said we will do.
That's right.
So he sealed it with blood. And we're going to see that all the way down to Jesus' day, the covenant still was sealed with blood. Something had to die to make sure that this covenant was intact. Well, let's go to Jeremiah, the 11th chapter. Jeremiah 11. And we're going to start taking a look at what this blood represents and what this covenant really represents. Jeremiah 11, and pick it up in verse 2. Jeremiah 11 and verse 2. Go ahead.
Hear ye the words of this covenant, and speak unto the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
Okay, here we are all the way down in Jeremiah's day, and we're still talking about a covenant. You know, a covenant that, again, people are taught to believe that the covenant has changed. Really, the more people that you talk to, they really don't understand what the old covenant and the new covenant consists of, which really covenant only means testament, the Old Testament, New Testament. Nobody ever understands that, but they be so quick to throw away the Old Testament. We don't need that. That's done away with. That's been fulfilled. But if you don't understand what the Old and New Covenant was in the first place, then it's time to pick up the Word and read it and get an understanding of it.
That's right.
But go ahead, verse 3.
And say thou unto them, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Cursed be the man that obeyeth not the words of this covenant.
Okay, so the ones that don't want to obey the words of this covenant, again, we still talking about the same covenant that was made with Abraham, and we still dealing with the seeds after him. So cursed be the man that obeyeth not the words of this covenant. So anybody that's telling you that it's done away with, you need to check that. And I pray to the Lord and ask them for some strength and understanding on how to understand what this covenant is all about, the everlasting covenant that was given to Abraham. Not for someone to tell you it was done away with. Verse 4.
Which I commanded your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt.
Okay, so now we just put the icing on the cake. We still talking about this same covenant that was given to Israel, passed down from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Why? Because they went all the way back to the land of Egypt. And go ahead.
From the iron furnace, saying, Obey my voice, and do them according to all which I command you. So shall ye be my people, and I will be your God.
Okay, so that was the terms on Israel part, was just to obey the Lord's voice. Just to walk in his word. That's all he told Abraham was. And for a token, that's when the circumcision came in and just cut some foreskin off the flesh. But let's skip now to verse number 10.
They are turned back to the iniquities of their forefathers, which refused to hear my words. And they went after other gods to serve them. The house of Israel and the house of Judah have broken my covenant, which I made with their fathers. Okay,
so the Lord said that, hey, you're going to be cursed, the ones that don't adhere to the terms of this covenant. So eventually Israel did turn back to the iniquities of their forefathers, and they refused to hear the Lord's words, and they went after other gods to serve them. The house of Israel and the house of Judah have broken my covenant, which I made with their fathers. So God didn't break the covenant, so why would the law and the old covenant be void? It was Israel the one that broke the covenant. God never broken the covenant.
That's right.
He kept his word, and he blessed the seed after Abraham, after seed after seed. He kept blessing the seed just like he said. So he didn't break the covenant. But go ahead.
Verse 11. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them.
Okay, so because Israel went back to their forefathers' ways, and they failed to be a kingdom of priests, just like we read, then the Lord brought evil upon this nation. And he scattered them throughout the world in bondage. But again, we got another lesson to deal with that. But I know most people that are New Testament Christians, they say, well, he's steady reading out of the Old Testament, but he's trying to predict on two covenants. Well, let's go in the New Testament and see if Jesus thought anything different about the covenant. Let's go to Romans, the 15th chapter. Romans 15, and we're going to read one verse. Romans 15, and pick it up at verse 8.
Now I say that Jesus Christ was a minister of the circumcision.
Okay, so now I say that Jesus Christ was a minister of the circumcision. What circumcision? The same circumcision that the Lord made a covenant with Abraham. For all males in his household and his seed to cut the foreskin off their flesh. Jesus is a minister to this circumcision. So why is it that we're down here in 2008 and we letting somebody tell us that males don't have to be circumcised no more? Or that's Jewish. If it was good enough for Jesus, and not only good enough for him, but he was a minister of the circumcision, then why wouldn't it be good for us? Why would we think anything different, that it was done away with? Now I say that Jesus Christ was a minister of the circumcision for what?
For the truth of God, to confirm the promises made unto the fathers.
Okay, and that's the same thing the Lord told Abraham, that cutting the flesh, the foreskin off your flesh, was to confirm that this covenant is intact. And Jesus is now the minister of it. This said to confirm the promises made unto the Father. So this is what Jesus is the minister of, to confirm that fact.